Y'all get ready?
Yes, you get ready.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovely Tea TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovely Tea TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Hey tea sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. As many of you guys know, well, if you're in Discord, I've been going through a lot. Like, oh my gosh, it's been a long week. I was going through a medical procedure and it took a toll on me. But I am doing better. Today was like the first day that I kind of felt, all the way okay, and that I was able to talk again after everything that went down. The Band-Aids came off, so I definitely, feel up to, doing at least a video. I'll probably do a live stream Monday, but a lot of people have been hitting me up, wanting me to talk about everything that's going on in Minnesota. We are all over the international stage, honey. It is a mess, okay? And even earlier today, because me and my mom were running around, running errands and stuff like that. And so we were over there off of Cedar Riverside. And when I tell you, honey, child, I've never seen them damn Cedar Riverside projects that quiet. I mean, we're out there, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think I saw 2 Somalians. And usually it don't matter if it's winter or summertime, that is the Somalian hood. It be packed up and down the street. Literally, I saw 2 Somalians the whole time we was over there. I'm like, damn. Whew, it's a lot going on in their community, child, but we're going to talk about it. I don't know how long this video is going to be, so just, enjoy it with me. But it's a lot to unpack. I grew up here in the Twin Cities. I know a lot about the Somalian community. I'm seeing people doing all types of commentary. They have all types of opinions on Minnesota, on Somalians. Half the people talking, they never even seen a Somalian. Because I know every time I bring friends up here from out of town, they've never seen Somalians before. They be like, who are these people walking around? I feel like I'm in the Middle East. I feel like I'm in Somalia. And I'm like, oh, that's the Somalian community. When I show people around Minnesota and especially around like South Minneapolis, they're always shocked because they've never seen Somalians. So I'm like, there's a lot of opinions about Somalians for people who've never even seen them in real life. Very interesting. But, we'll get to all that. So let's go ahead and go back to a few days ago. What caused this whole situation to go viral was, our commander-in-chief basically went on this huge rant, called out the Minneapolis mayor, Mayor Fry, and also said that Somalia was garbage, Somalian people stink. He went in, child. When I tell you, at first I thought it was AI, and then I was like, silly me. Why would I think this is AI? Trump don't give a damn what comes out his mouth, honey. Like, girl, no, this is the real him, okay? So we're going to go ahead and watch what Trump had to say, and then we're just going to, watch more clips and, just talk, and you know what we do here, okay? Grab y'all's teacup, sit back, and enjoy the show.
The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief...
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also saying...
I'd be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with... Go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country. And without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight. They talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, okay? They shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople because they don't represent the interests of our country.
All right, so y'all just heard what Trump said, and that went viral all over the world. So a lot of people are very upset. And so the reason why all of this is going on, for y'all who don't know, is that there has been a lot of fraud in Minnesota over the past few years. And it happens to be some of the biggest fraud in the nation. Now, I remember when the whole Feeding Our Future situation went down in 2020. I'll never forget, because Lady J, my podcast partner, called me, was like, T, do you see all the stuff that's going on in your city? And I'm like, yes, this is insane. And so this was during George Floyd. This was during COVID. And this Feeding the Future situation, I mean, they had like 78 people get arrested. It tallied up into millions and millions of dollars. They were basically lying and saying that they were feeding all these kids in the Minneapolis community, all these Somalian kids. They were adding all these names to the list. And so when people were like, well, you got more kids than y'all are feeding, like basically the amount of kids that they were feeding, they'd had to be feeding like thousands of kids per hour every day, Monday through Sunday. That's impossible. So when red flags were being raised because of so many children being submitted, then they turned around and said that this was, racial discrimination. You guys are not trying to approve us because we're Muslim, because we're Somalian. So it went really deep. And so the problem is a lot of people feel like a lot of higher ups were behind this. It wasn't just the Somalis, but they're saying that it goes all the way up into the governor, Tim Walz. So this is where a lot of the drama stemmed from, was from that first initial fraud case in 2020. And then that spun off into all types of other stuff. And so a lot of Somalis have been arrested as of late in Minnesota for huge amounts of fraud. So we're going to go ahead and watch some of those videos right now. This was the first time when it first appeared. As you guys see, this was from 3 years ago. This was a big story, but it was mainly just a Twin Cities story.
Nearly 50 people are now charged in a $250 million fraud scheme. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kelsey Carlson.
And I'm Amy Hawker. This money was from federal COVID-19 funding. It was supposed to feed youth in need, but the charges say that didn't happen. Rob Wilson joins us live from Minneapolis. Rob, this just seems unbelievable.
Yeah, and going on for quite a long time. Feeding Our Future first caught the state's attention in the summer and fall of 2020 when they were claiming just large numbers of children being fed under this federal funding. Well, they tried to stop the funds. Feeding Our Future sued, claiming discrimination. A judge ordered them to continue being funded. It then went to the federal authorities, and now after a long investigation, these massive indictments.
Feeding Our Future is...
So imagine the arrogance. Let me come on the screen real quick. Imagine you're doing fraud. You know you're doing fraud, but because you're such a protected group in Minnesota, you're able to then turn around and file discrimination and put pressure. Because remember, around this time, there was a lot of racial tension in Minnesota. This was around George Floyd, Derek Chauvin. So it was a lot of racial tension. And they knew this, and they took advantage of that. And so they claimed discrimination racially, religiously, all of that stuff. And then after a while, the feds end up getting involved because they're like, this is way too much money that's going to this particular community to feed the children. And this wasn't just happening in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis area. This was also happening down in Rochester and I believe Duluth area. It was happening in a few different cities. And in one case, they were supposedly feeding more children than were even in the county. That's how bad this greed got, that they were feeding more kids than were living in that particular county in Minnesota. But let's continue.
Is at the core of this fraud.
Feeding Our Future, operated out of this Twin Cities office building, is a nonprofit sponsor for free meal sites of the federal child nutrition program. And when COVID hit, accused now of becoming the center of the largest pandemic fraud in the U.S.
They were running a scheme, not a child nutrition program.
U.S. Attorney Andy Luger announcing federal indictments against 47 people, including Feeding Our Future founder Amy Bach. Charges include conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, and illegal kickbacks. Accused of, under relaxed COVID regulations, opening more than 200 free meal sites across Minnesota, each site claiming to serve between 2,000 and 6,000 children every day. The U.S. Attorney says they submitted fake rosters filled with children who don't exist.
Only about 1 or 2% of the names in most of these sites match the school rosters. These children were simply invented.
The alleged fraud adding up to $250 million. Defendants buying homes in Minnesota, resort properties in Turkey and Kenya, luxury vehicles and jewelry. So far, $50 million has been recovered.
The subjects in this case weren't interested in feeding our future. They were interested in feeding their own gluttony.
Now, the indictment.
So that was 3 years ago. So now we fast forward to 2025 and more fraud had been discovered in the Somali community.
President Trump in recent days has taken aim at Minnesota's Somali community with xenophobic remarks and calls for removal from the U.S. It coincides with the new ICE operation in the Twin Cities that's resulted in at least 5 arrests of Somali immigrants. Special correspondent Fred DeSam Lazaro has this report on the community's response and how we got here, including a sweeping fraud scandal that's gripping the state.
At Carmel Mall, a hub for Somali life and culture in South Minneapolis, business has been slower than usual this week.
It's very scary, especially a small business owner, for us, for me, all the business, Carmel Mall. We're not making any money.
Concern rose here after word of an increase in federal immigration enforcement targeting Minnesota's Somali community. The state is home to about 80,000 people of Somali descent, the largest such population in the country. Most are citizens, and many were born here. The stepped-up enforcement, dubbed Operation Metro Surge, follows President Trump's repeated attacks on Minnesota's Somali community.
They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Their country stinks.
The president also singled out Ilhan Omar, the progressive Somalia-born Minnesota congresswoman who he's long criticized.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain.
I was shocked, bro. I was like, what? I was just like, really? He said that? I mean, I've seen him say crazy things, but now it hits home.
The comments sparked an uproar in Minnesota's Somali community.
We really thought, wow, why would somebody call a whole community and say you're garbage or you stink? Actually, we smell really good.
Even Somali Americans who voted for Trump, like business owner Waris Mahmoud, expressed anger.
We want he make America great, but not insulting the people he is the president. I want he change, his tongue because he doesn't know us. Come over here, Donald Trump. You are our president. Come over here, have a tea, and you will learn who we are.
President Trump targeted Somali immigrants in his first term, too. But his rhetoric sharpened dramatically this week amid increased national attention to a series of massive Minnesota fraud scandals in which almost all of the dozens of people charged so far are of Somali descent. In one case, hundreds of millions of dollars were allegedly stolen from a program meant to feed children during the pandemic. Officials called it the largest COVID-era fraud scheme in the country. Authorities later said there was large-scale fraud in a program designed to help people with disabilities get housing. And in September, a woman was charged for defrauding a state autism treatment program. All told, federal prosecutors estimate fraud in Minnesota could cost taxpayers over $1 billion. When you started to read...
And that's the part that's very frustrating because even in the autism case, what they were doing were having a lot of members of the Somalian community submit their kids, nothing wrong with them, you know, submit and pretend that they have autism so they could get a check, and they were splitting it and doing kickbacks. The situation with the disabilities, they were opening up all these disability homes and then having Somalis run them, and there was nobody there that was disabled. They were just getting checks, you know. So the scamming that's been going on, and it's been going on for a while, is just, it's really disgusting, and people in Minnesota are upset, they're livid, and they're tired.
But as scrutiny of Minnesota's Somali community spikes, so does criticism of Governor Tim Walz for failing to heed early warnings about fraud and to do enough to combat it.
You commit fraud in Minnesota, you're going to prison. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are. Anybody who wants to help us in that, we welcome that. But sitting on the sidelines and throwing out accusations, and let's be very clear, demonizing an entire population and lying to people about the safety and security of this state is beneath that.
The topic will likely dominate next year's gubernatorial election, when a crowded Republican field will try to stop Walz from winning a third term. One of his challengers is Minnesota House Speaker Lisa Demuth.
This does point to Governor Walz, because whether or not some of it preceded him, it has exploded during his time leading our state, and there has not been that accountability that taxpayers are counting on.
What do you think about what has emerged since, which is a racialization at many levels of this issue?
You know, I don't think fraud needs to be a topic of race, but when we're looking at that, it is heavily centered on one culture, one population. But I don't agree with any demonization of an entire culture. So I don't think that we're painting everyone with a broad brush, but we are definitely pointing where there has been known fraud, and that's what needs to stop.
We asked Demuth about President Trump's recent comments about Somalis. What's your message to the Somali community when they hear rhetoric like that?
My top message to Governor Walz is end the fraud.
To the Somali community.
My top message to Governor Walz is end the fraud here in the state of Minnesota. When fraud ends in the state of Minnesota, a whole group of people will not be concerned or wondering if they're going to be under investigation. Governor Walz has not taken fraud seriously enough in the state of Minnesota.
You don't take issue with the president's rhetoric?
I'm focused on what Minnesota is doing and our lack of leadership here.
Back at Carmel Mall, as rumors of ICE sightings and detentions trickle through the community, residents and business owners anxiously await what comes next, while remaining defiant.
This is our country. If the people says to you, go back to your country, you know, this is your country.
We're not scared of what our president said. We don't care whatever he wants or he can say. We're not going to scare with that.
So now we're going to watch this video of the people in Somalia. So the Somalians are now going off in Somalia about what Trump said as well. So we're going to watch this video.
Hundreds of people took to the streets of Mogadishu on Friday to voice their outrage at US President Trump's reference to Somali immigrants as garbage. Speaking at a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, Trump said Somali Americans contribute nothing. We don't want them in our country, he said. His comments have been met with shock and condemnation in the US and Somalia. We are protesting against Trump's insulting words, calling us garbage. We are not garbage. He is the one who is trash. Since he failed in his politics, he's trying to divert public attention. There are more than 250,000 people of Somali descent living in the US, including Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Demonstrators waved banners and images of Omar and chanted anti-Trump slogans. Trump has violated our dignity and we will not accept what he called us. We are Somalis and we have our own pride. He does not understand this. Trump's attack on Somali Americans was triggered by reports of fraud in social security programs in Minnesota, which is home to a large Somali community. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has condemned Trump's comments.
All right, so you guys just saw that. So like I said, this topic has been, it's like the heaviest topic on social media right now, especially on TikTok. Everybody has an opinion. what's very interesting is that they were Somalians. They were Somalian MAGA supporters. They were Somalians who voted for Trump and who wanted the community to vote for Trump. And now they feel betrayed. And they're also asking the Black community in Minnesota to stand alongside them. Now, there's many different Black communities in Minnesota. Minnesota is a very, very diverse place, and people don't necessarily realize that. People just tend to think that Minnesota is just white people. But as far as like the ethnic communities in Minnesota, we're very diverse. Not only do we have the largest amount of Somalis in America here, but we also have a large amount of Hmong people, which is an Asian group. Then it breaks off into like the Africans. We have a large amount of Liberians here. We have a smaller amount of Nigerians. Then you have like the African American groups. And so a lot of the Somalians now want Black folks to rally with them, and that's causing, you know, some tension as well. So we'll get into that, but let's go ahead and watch the videos of the Trump supporting, you know, Somalians who were, you know, Team Trump and Me No Black, who were Team Trump a few months ago, and now they feel like they've been betrayed. So we're going to go ahead and watch one of the men who's been talking all over the news here in the Twin Cities.
From Rochester to Duluth.
On the campaign trail in Minnesota last summer, President Donald Trump caught the attention of this man. Salman Fiki had a front row seat for the St. Cloud rally. He says he got the call from the president's team to help drum up support for the Republican ahead of Election Day.
Economic issues, safety issues, education issues.
Fiki, a Somali immigrant, says he is proud to support conservative policies, but says his support for the president is now gone.
Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country.
This is President Donald Trump doubling down, continuing to attack the entire Somali community in Minnesota, the vast majority of whom are U.S. citizens. CBS News reports that this week, ICE is launching an operation specifically targeting Somali people.
Dehumanizing and very demeaning rhetoric.
You described this as a betrayal, but did you not expect President Donald Trump to talk this way about the Somali community, given his history, given his policies?
Well, actually, we believe in second chances.
That benefit of the doubt, coupled with some Muslim communities becoming disillusioned with how the Biden administration handled the war in Gaza, gave the GOP new inroads in the Somali community in 2024. Data from the Minnesota Secretary of State shows that in strong Somali neighborhoods like Cedar Riverside and Minneapolis, Trump's performance improved by 5 percentage points. Fiki believes that goodwill is now lost for the GOP.
That in no way do I believe any community is all bad, just like I don't believe any community is all good.
We love our brothers and sisters who are Democrats, but you left us. And because the left left us, join the right, vote for Trump 2024, vote for Joe Trape 2024, vote for Mazie Young in St. Paul 2024, vote for Tajud in CD3 2024, vote for Tom Emma, our lion, out of St. Cloud. Farhan is here and is endorsing him. And please go out and vote, because voting for Trump without soldiers is giving him a failure. So please vote. Again, for the school boards, we have a ton of people running who are in the school board from all over the state. And please go vote for the Republican Party this time. Thank you so much.
A few moments later.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you.
Damn.
Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
He is President of America. We have to respect him.
Shukriya Bashike and her husband own a store in downtown Lewiston. She raised 8 children, all now with college degrees, and still works 7 days a week.
We order, we drink any kind.
She supports the president, but not his blanket statements about her home country and fellow citizens.
Some people good, some people no good. But 90% is very good people. They like to follow the rule. They work hard. They work day and night.
A lot of Muslim people and a lot of Somali people voted for him. So he represents us. And now he's targeting us.
And now he wants to deport them. So if you don't remember, during the election, Somali leaders in Minnesota did a press conference where they publicly endorsed Donald Trump. Now, fast forward to recently, Donald Trump is, doing his press conference on the news, and he's saying that he wants Somali people gone. He says that he does not like them. He says that, I guess, the areas that they live in are poverty-stricken, and, they're not good people, and that's why they don't even want to live in their own country, and he knows that it's not politically correct to say that, but he don't like them, and he wants them gone. There's a lot of immigrants that are learning the hard way that, your proximity to whiteness means nothing. There's a reason why a lot of black people don't care to be, in white spaces. They don't care to bootleg or none of that. There's a reason, because at the end of the day, whether you believe that you're black or not, I'm not black, I'm Somali.
Thank you, Salman, and good morning again. My name is Faisal Deri, and we're here gathered today with the community leaders, business leaders, and youth leaders from the Somali community and from the Muslim community in Minnesota. And we're gathered here today to fully support and endorse President Trump and J.D. Vance. Some of the key issues of the community are the global wars, and we're for peace. Economic issues, family values and education.
Mr. President, we campaign for you. We have hope in you. We see hope in you. Please differentiate between good, bad, and evil.
That's a Somali immigrant who voted for President Trump in 2024, but now Trump is demonizing Somalis in America, specifically here in Minnesota.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
I got 5 children. My children are no garbage. I campaigned for the president in 2024. I actually went out and we reached 50 million people endorsing Trump 7 days before the election.
What drew you to the president?
Because we believed he was an agent of chaos. We couldn't afford anything back then. There was a fentanyl crisis. There was an issue of affordability. The living standards went down. Crime issues. These are 5 very important things to us. And we believe that Trump will be the solution to it. I've been a Republican for over 25 years. I'm not going to stop being a Republican. But what I do know is for a fact is we're getting killed out here because people are saying, we told you so.
I just know you all seen that one video of the Somali old heads coming together being like, oh, Trump 2025, Trump for president. And they went on a podium endorsing Donald Trump and supporting his campaign. Now, it didn't even take a full year before Donald Trump turns his back on these old heads, telling them, I don't want you nasty Somalians in this country. The same exact old heads who were endorsing and supporting Trump's campaign are now being insulted on national television. Now, ain't this karma at its finest?
All right, so the problem with him and the Somalians for Trump crew that were all around Kama Mall and South Minneapolis is the fact that they thought that, they were the other. And I think that's been the issue with, I'm not saying everybody in the Somalian community, so again, if the shoe don't fit, you shouldn't be mad. But I think that's been the issue with a lot of people in the Somalian community is that they have basically distanced themselves from everyone and they've just become this tight-knit group. They don't assimilate. They don't try to mix and mingle with other ethnicities, especially other black people or other black Africans. And so, when they were hearing all this rhetoric that Trump was spewing, they thought, oh, it don't got nothing to do with them. No different than the Arabs in Dearborn. No different than the Cubans down in Miami. I vote, same thing. They had that same type of mentality that, the leopards wouldn't eat their face. And now there's like ICE raids happening all over the city. And it's really unfortunate, because like I said, I've never seen the South Side that empty of Somalians. I didn't even get up there by like Kamama. I'm going to talk about that later. But I didn't even go up that way. But I know Riverside, to see Riverside basically empty like that on a Saturday, insane.
Majority of them are U.S. citizens. And the young woman I talked to today has never known another country as home.
Hatred is very exhausting too.
Hurtful
Yeah.
is one word Bushra Mohammed uses to describe the comments made by President Donald Trump about Minnesota's Somali community.
It is hurtful to be called garbage. I am, again, a United States citizen. I am Somali. So I wonder if to him and his party, if that is all I am to him, a garbage, you know?
Bushra was born in the U.S. and is a freshman at the U of M. Despite being a U.S. citizen, she feels anxiety in public about potentially coming face to face with an ICE agent.
It's that act of looking over my shoulder, which pains me because I am a United States citizen. This is my home, and I don't want to feel unsafe in my home. It's harassment disguised as law enforcement.
Are people afraid to leave their homes right
They
now?
are afraid, yeah. I've heard of people carrying extra identification on them, like passports.
But Bushra wonders if fear is the point. The vast majority of Somalis in Minnesota are citizens or have legal status. Community advocates estimate the actual number of undocumented Somalis to be just in the hundreds.
I think there's a lot of fear right now and a lot of confusion because it has been said multiple times that a lot of us are United States citizens. So the elders in our community are confused and they're scared for their children, and they just want some type of hope and understanding of the situation.
Despite the climate feeling as tense as it ever has for Somalis in Minnesota, Bushra has hope it will improve.
But I want people outside of the Somali community to know that we aren't a threat to you guys. We're your neighbors, we're friends, we're co-workers, and I have faith in Minnesota, like I do have faith in the United States, and this is like a bump in the road that we will overcome eventually.
Underway across the Twin Cities, including in Somali and majority immigrant neighborhoods.
Samantha Fisher with our sister station in Minneapolis visited one shopping center filled with Somali-owned and operated businesses to see how those impacted are now responding.
Just like every day at this Lake Street shopping center, plenty of clothing, jewelry, and food fill Carmel Mall on Lake Street. The only thing missing on Wednesday was some of its regulars, both customers and tenants, according to the property owner, Bassem Sabri.
And many businesses are closed and they're not operating and they're not coming. And they're scared to be here.
Sabri says he believes ICE agents are targeting the mall and neighborhood because most of its businesses are Somali owned.
Today and yesterday, the neighborhood was stormed with ICE agents. In fact, my security guys have to ask them to move out of the lot.
The White House says ICE is not targeting Somalis in Minneapolis, but enforcing deportation orders.
We're going to enforce the laws of this country without apology, including in the Twin Cities. Focuses on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities been uncovered by DOJ and DHS.
The national spotlight on Minnesota's Somali community comes after charges and convictions in various fraud schemes of government programs, including Feeding Our Future.
But not every Somali did that. And those people were prosecuted.
Flyers now dot the mall doors and windows saying ICE won't be allowed entrance without a warrant. This comes on the same day Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry directed staff to create signs for private business owners who want to mark their property as off limits for these immigration activities, and signed an executive order prohibiting agents from using any city-owned parking lots, ramps, garages, or vacant lots for immigration operations.
We still have a job to do, regardless of whether immigration raids are happening or not.
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says the mayor's executive order will be enforced by the city, but local police do not have the authority to get in the way of federal agents.
It would be unlawful for us to obstruct federal law enforcement enforcing federal law. For me, the most difficult part of living through this is being here with people in the community and, seeing just how terrified people are. And it's very disturbing.
A space filled with tradition and culture.
They're wonderful people, and you shouldn't paint them all as being a bad person.
Sabri says is now also filled with fear.
This is not what America is all about.
Those were just some of the videos. So now we're going to go to TikTok and watch a lot of people, what they had to say about it. Again, you have people who are, Black Americans, their opinions, Black Americans in the Twin Cities, Black Americans in other cities, Somalians. A lot of them are upset. They feel like, Black Americans and other Blacks, the other Africans, right? West Africans, I guess, are not standing in solidarity. Most of the people that are standing in solidarity with the Somali community in Minnesota, from what I see, are mainly the whites. And again, we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, okay? So we're going to go ahead and watch some of these TikToks right now.
A lot of people haven't been leaving their home for work or making a living. So it's very unfortunate and very sad.
I feel like it's sad to see everyone inside right now. This is very empty for this area, especially this place to be this quiet, nobody walking around, I think is insane.
Sarah, we went to Carmel Mall. That's really the heart of the Somali community here in Minneapolis. It is normally bustling. There are people everywhere as these shop owners, try to make a living here in America, and it was virtually empty. Most of the people that we spoke with were people who work there, and that was pretty jarring.
I ain't gonna lie, Trump did his big one with this one. Nobody seemed to have a problem with stop and frisk when it was happening to Black people. Step to the front. Minnesota Somalians, Africans, Minnesota Latins, Spanish people. Step to the front, y'all. Step to the front. Because what you mean? Y'all wasn't doing nothing. They just stopped y'all and y'all feel some type of way that y'all got to carry y'all papers. And y'all want us to protest for y'all. And y'all want us to stand up for y'all. And y'all want us to do this, that, and the third. What do you mean? It ain't no fun when it's happening to you. But it sure is entertaining when it's happening to other people, huh? We sat here and try to tell y'all, not we, me. I sat here and try to tell y'all about the system, about stop and frisk. I try to tell y'all about the laws that all of a sudden made it illegal to be an original inhabitant of this land. I've been telling y'all the whole time, and now that y'all's turning up, y'all acting like, we don't know. And the craziest thing is, we didn't notice. This just came out. The craziest part is that y'all voted for this guy. Without even understanding what Make America Great Again means. Because y'all, Somalians and Africans, want to be so much in proximity to whiteness that y'all forget that y'all is Black. Huh? Remember that whole, I know blackface, I know black-eyed Dominican, I know black-eyed Mexican, I know black-eyed Somalian. Somalians aren't Black, blah, blah, blah. And I sat here and tried to tell y'all that Black is not a race. Black is a way of being treated, right? You can't claim Black if you haven't been through any of the stuff that Black people have been through, right? Now y'all starting to feel a little bit of it, and y'all like, we're Black. They're born here. They're African American. No, the fuck you're not. No, you're not. You're getting this much of what us original inhabitants are getting. You're getting this much, and you can't even take the heat. And y'all can't even take the heat. Y'all are here crying, oh, what I gotta do to get back in my proximity to whiteness? What I gotta do? I've been a good citizen. All of us aren't bad. But when it comes to Black people, all Black people this, all Black people that, all Black people this, now it's your turn. Yes, I'm saying it. All Somalians is bad. Yep. Kids out of control. Show the fuck is Trump did the right thing. With this here, he did the right thing because the fact of the matter is, when y'all, my pimple sticker, when y'all started immigrating to Minnesota back in the 90s, we immediately noticed a difference, a shift in crime, things getting more violent, more domestic abuse, more stabbings, more drug overdoses, more alcohol overdoses. We immediately started to clock y'all teeth. But also, we're so good, we're Muslim, we're this, we're that, we're this. Y'all so caught up in the hype. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Y'all so caught up in the hype that y'all ain't even recognizing that motherfuckers is trying to pull y'all coattail and help y'all out so y'all don't wind up in the same situation. But ain't no more of that. Ain't no more of that. Ain't no more of, you're not going to see us out here in camaraderie with you guys anymore, because the fact of the matter remains that y'all don't give a fuck about nothing until it's happening to y'all. Y'all didn't give a fuck about our kids being hunted down in the streets. Y'all didn't give a fuck about the stop and frisk when it was us. Y'all didn't give a fuck about them heavily patrolling our neighborhoods for no reason. Y'all didn't have a problem when the media was portraying us and our kids as savage animals. Y'all didn't have a problem with it, right? But now, all of a sudden, y'all can understand. Y'all understand what it's like, but y'all ain't even putting two and two together. And that's why there will be no camaraderie. Because
so what she's saying is what a lot of people are feeling, not only online, but in the Twin Cities. There is a big divide here between the Black community. And when I say Black, I'm meaning the Black West Africans and the African Americans and the Somalians. Big divide. The white people get along with them great because, again, that proximity to whiteness. So you're going to hear nothing but good things coming from white people, about the community. But with a lot of Black folks, some of the experiences with the Somalian community has not always been great. And that's just the truth of the matter. There was a speech that's gone viral where one of the Somalian men, I believe it might have been a imam, was talking about African Americans and how, you know, they're all single mothers and all their kids were the results of a one-night stand. You know, just saying horrible things about the African American community, which is BS.
Most of the people that we meet, especially African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand. They will tell you, I don't know my father. Well, who named you? Whose name are you carrying? Well, my mother chose his name for me. You know, I don't know. Is that what we want for our ummah? No. كلهم أو معظمهم أبناء الزنا. أبناء الزنا. Why? Because man, he has to give up the seed. And because the marriage will limit them, they will go from one to another to a third woman. You know, subhanallah, it's one of the African American.
So this is the video that's gone viral that has a lot of people pissed off. And this is how, unfortunately, some, not all, think. And my thing is, how do you come to a country and then talk shit about the African Americans here in the country who paved the way for you to have the rights and the abilities and the things that you're able to, you know what I'm saying, benefit from, if it was not for African Americans? You know, so I hate when I hear rhetoric like that because it's such bullshit, especially now in the Somalian community. You have a lot of broken homes. You have a lot of single mother homes. This wasn't the case in the 90s, you know what I'm saying, when they first came here. But like the girl was saying, after the second and third generation, oh, there's a lot of fracturing in their own community. So it's very crazy that they're talking about the African American community as if they don't have their own issues in their own community. So we're going to watch some more videos.
We are Somalis, not black. There, I said it. All right? Everyone is keep asking, why don't Somalis want to identify as black? It's simple. The term black was never a word to begin with. Yeah. The term black, it didn't come from Africa. It came from America. Hello. Right? It was designed to separate slaves from Europeans. It was not designed to celebrate identity. It was to control it. Yeah. So when Somalis came to the West, we didn't suddenly become black. We were labeled. Alright? Imposed. And we embrace it. Chill like that. Chill like that. Sheesh. Somalis had identity before race. Alright? Our identity comes from our ancestors, not appearance. Yeah. Alright? Blackness is a Western category. Somalia is a civilization. Big difference.
Tweet today talking about the fact that Trump is targeting Somali people in Minnesota is going to put Black Americans at risk. I don't think so. I think that Black Americans and Somali people don't look anything alike, first of all. Second of all, they don't even consider themselves black.
We are Somalis, not black. There, I said it.
Somalis are not black. Let me explain why. Looking at me right now, chat, am I black? I'm literally brown. I'm literally brown, bro. Think about it as well. Somalis are Arabs. We're in the Arab leagues. We speak the Arab language. We eat the Arab food. Bro, think about it like this, bro. If a whole community doesn't regard themselves as black, we can't be black, bro.
Somalis are not black. Now, before you disagree with me, I just want to say, listen, right? There's no such thing as the term black. The term black only came about in colonization. I don't have to accept that, Sahib. That's why the other day when I was in a place, someone said to me, are you black? I said, I'm not black, Sahib. I don't accept that term.
Somalis are not black. There's a difference between African and black.
You think that a person, any person, can't tell the difference between a Black American and a Somali person? I don't think so. I think that you can tell the difference between a Somali person and a Black American person. Like, I really do. And I'm just saying.
If you see one of us talking about the disrespect you're bringing over here, it's not tribalism. We don't practice that nonsense over here. Okay? Get that off your head. It's called accountability. You said we don't know our fathers. You said we don't know where we're from. We're gonna talk about it. And we're not gonna keep quiet about it either. You keep saying we're being divisive, being, hateful. No, that's people standing up for themselves, okay? And please understand this. If you dish any type of disrespect, expect it to get called out every single time, okay? Because we're not gonna tolerate it.
Part 2 of my question to Somalis refugees in America. After you went to all this country and nobody could take you in, the United States took you in, and all you can do is to try to tear their country apart. All you do is to steal from them. All you do is to put your religion on them.
By her accent, she's Liberian. I don't know if she's from Brooklyn Center, she's from Minnesota, but this is a Liberian African woman talking here. Let's continue listening to what she has to say.
Meanwhile, not taking into consideration that there are other African refugees here. You muddy the water for every other refugees. You come over here as a refugee, but you fail to realize that it's not a right, it's a privilege. Yes, when somebody open their doors to you and say, come and live in my house, that the same way they open the door, they also have the right to kick you out. It's not a right, it's a privilege. You are not African American. You were refugees. You were refugees. Even your children born here can be deported. Because the citizenship law was not passed for you. It was passed for the African American and their ancestors and their children. So you and I, having it is a privilege, it's not a right.
There's a lot of African Americans, right? They're like so hateful on TikTok. Let me remind you of all the African American. There was a time where police were unaliving a lot of African Americans. But when it comes to the state of Minnesota, the Somali people that you guys spewing so much hate on, let me tell you about what happened during George Floyd. When George Floyd happens, we understood that when you come for one black man, you're coming for all of us. And we stood by them. We raised our voices. There's no way anybody who were among those protesters can say that Somali people were not among them. We were among them. We raised voices. We chanted Black Lives Matter with our chest open wide. So for you all to just come at us like that when we supported, that's insane. That's insane. Oh my God. Stop it. There's a lot.
Okay. Let me say this about the George Floyd thing. Yes, Somalians were definitely there at George Floyd. You know, one of my good friends, I do have one Somalian good friend. And to me, she acts very different from those in her community. She's very open. You know, she likes to mix and mingle with other cultures. So I love her. That is my sister from another mister. So don't get too offended by this video, but you know I'm going to keep it 100, right? Yes, they were there. They did march alongside, but this is why I have to say, objection. Y'all also took advantage of the George Floyd situation. Not all y'all, but some of y'all's community also took advantage of the fact that during George Floyd, there was all of these racial tensions. When a lot of these frauds started popping up, these huge fraud schemes by some of those in the Somalian community, that was during the same time as the George Floyd riots. That was when tension in Minnesota was at an all-time high. Remember, when the state was saying, hey, this feeding our future thing looks kind of funny, they sued the state for racial discrimination. Okay, so while yes, a lot of y'all did march with good intentions, some of y'all also took that time to be agents of chaos and used that time for y'all's own benefits. Okay, so my issue with this whole situation, especially with the whole fraud situation, because that's what kind of caused everything that's going on, is that you have a lot of people in the Somali community who do not call out the nonsense. They don't call out the fraud. They just sweep things under the rug. Even most of the people who do commentary on TikTok, they only do cutesy commentary, you know, about school or makeup or how to tie your hijab. It's never about anything really deep. It's never about, you know, holding those accountable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the issue. I think people wouldn't look at their community with such suspicion if people in the community actually called out the bullshit. You know, even Ilhan Omar has been making excuses. Like, you're not calling them out and saying that they are wrong for the fraud and the things that they're doing, that they're making the community look bad. It's almost like it's like hard to hold their own accountable or put their own on blast. And you should be able to do that. And again, it's not just Somalians who do that. So I'm not just picking on the Somalians, but I noticed this with a lot of minority groups, right? I noticed this as somebody being a YouTuber who does commentary on everyone. Okay, so I talk about everything here. I don't care who the person is. You could be African American, Nigerian, Asian, Mexican. If you land up on my docket, I'm going to talk about it. But I notice a lot of people do not like to talk or hold their own accountable. I remember when 6ix9ine was acting a fool. And I was saying, I find it very funny that 6ix9ine is using all these black men, all of these African Americans to be his shield. Why is he not asking his own Mexican partners to be his bodyguards? Why is he not asking the essays and, you know what I'm saying, the vatos? And I remember there was a few Mexicans who got upset. Oh, don't you be talking about the essays and the vatos. Keep anything about Mexicans out your mouth. And I said, absolutely the fuck not. I did, and will continue to do, because first and foremost, you're not going to be over here sipping tea and, you know, kikiing and laughing when it comes to black people, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. And then as soon as it's something with the Latin community, now it's off limits. Just like I noticed when everything was going down with Wendy Osefo. This is why I got to give some of the Nigerians a side eye as well. I noticed when Wendy and Eddie got popped doing fraud, a lot of Nigerian, you know, commentators were quiet. They didn't have the same smoke for them. They didn't, you know, even talk about it. But yet and still, anytime it's like something with like an African American cast member or, you know, hip hop star, oh, there's all types of commentary. And I don't respect that, because I feel like if we can't hold our own accountable, then that says a lot. You know what I mean? You can't have all this commentary and all this smoke when it comes to things that African Americans may do, or, you know, Latinos may do, or what white people may do. But then when it comes to your own, it's crickets, or let's just ignore it and sweep it under the rug. You know, I literally got drugged for holding her and her husband accountable for their scamming. Like, it's not okay. If this was anybody else on Potomac or, you know, Real Housewives of Atlanta, there would have been all types of thank pieces and this and that and single motherhood and, you know, where is the father? It'd have been all types of nonsense. But, you know, I noticed that a lot of times people in minority communities do not want to call out their own and put their own on blast. Now, there was one young gentleman, the one that was in the prior video talking about, you know, Somalians or Arabs or whatever. He caught out a lot of Somalians, and he ended up, you know, people were attacking him. His own community was attacking him for calling out the nonsense in the Somalian community, you know, the fraud and stuff like that. So he got a lot of backlash. So we'll watch his video right now.
There are truth we have not been saying out loud. Number one, go to Somali malls. Cash only, no receipts. That's sus. We gotta say that out loud. Number two, Somali tax accountants. They say, oh, you have no taxes today. That's sus. We gotta call that out. What? Yeah. Somali trucking companies cutting corners. That's sus. Let's not do that. Appreciate that. Let me keep going. Yeah, helping each other lie on forms. Like it's some sort of community service we're doing to each other. What? Yeah, and recently I just saw a Somali sheriff, police officer, saying that he only serves the Somali community. What are you doing? You're an American. The whole citizens is your duty to protect and provide great, excellent service. Hello? Get rid of that mindset. Appreciate that. There are truth we have not been saying out loud.
So for him speaking the truth about, you know, nonsense going on in his community, he's been doxxed, attacked, cussed out, drug all up and down Somali TikTok. It's been insane.
I received a lot of backlash saying that I shouldn't speak about our flaws right now. And this one message stood out. Let's read it. Good morning, Zen. I'm truly sorry for what
He had called out the Somali community on them demanding cash, you know, doing all types of janky shit like a few days ago on TikTok, and it went viral. And his own community got mad. They were making videos dragging him, saying he's a traitor. How dare he talk about the Somali community? And that's my issue, is that when things go wrong, they don't want to be held accountable by their own. He got attacked for saying the truth. So I haven't seen this video yet. We're going to go ahead and watch what Zen has to say here.
happened during the live stream. Being insulted and cursed by ignorant people is extremely hurtful. You handle it well with dignity, and the fact that you didn't respond with insult shows your good character. I just want to suggest something. Even if what you said is true, it may be used against the Somali community in the future. During times like this is filled with hate, it's not wise to highlight our flaws. It's better to uplift and celebrate the achievement of Somalis in America across all fields. Here's the thing, I agree with you. Mentioning our flaws at times like this does not feel good, right? It's just, if mentioning our flaws is betrayal, how do we improve them? And if accountability is attacking, then when do we say anything? Since silence appears to be our strategy. That's all. The truth is,
and he's saying the truth. That's what's bothersome, is that there's just silence. Somalians get caught stealing millions of dollars in tax fraud. Silence from everybody else in the community, like it didn't happen. And that's why people are pissed, because there's nobody in y'all's community condemning this shit and saying this is not okay. You know what I'm saying? So when he's calling it out, he's getting attacked. It boggles the mind.
We're Somalis. We're thriving. We have to set high standard and condemn nonsense like this, right? Of the thing that's coming out in the news, yes, Somalis did it. Yes, few Somalis did it. Not all of us. We're all chill like that, right? But the few created this thing that we have to all defend ourselves.
Right.
So we have to first look at this and say, hey, we condemn this. Let's raise our standard. And then we defend this nonsense propaganda. Yeah, that's what that message was about. Even the title on the top, it says that. Let's be honest before we defend ourselves. That's it. I received a lot.
Yeah, he got a lot of backlash. You know, just being silent doesn't make the issue disappear. So I respect him for literally being the only Somalian on TikTok, holding his own people accountable, and, you know, just calling out the nonsense.
Ooh, baby, weird racism is just hanging out there, ain't it? He don't give a damn. That motherfucker said that he wanted the Somalians to go back to their country, and that he was gonna take away the protections so they can get sent the fuck back. Now y'all see. Do y'all see now? Do y'all see what black people been saying? Do y'all still think we lazy? Do y'all still buy into all the shit that has been told to y'all about black folks over here? Do y'all still believe that white people discovered America? Do you still believe that white people paved the way for y'all to get here? Do you still believe that you're better than black people because you wanted to be so close to whiteness? Do you still believe that now? I mean, I hope they get your ass. I'ma just go on the record and say I feel bad for your children because they ain't have shit to do with that. But it is reported that majority of you motherfuckers in Minneapolis voted for this motherfucker. Now.
So the difficulty I'm having with what's going on in Minnesota is we already know what Orange is doing and saying is wrong. We're not even going to address that because even the people that voted for him, no. And so I'm gonna just leave that alone, and I don't choose to talk publicly about political things. So that's first. The second part of it is that what the people did by misusing money that was for welfare programs was also wrong. We know that, but we also know that that's not the whole community. So why are we like blaming the entire community and acting like they're bad people? Or the 84,000 Somalis that live in Minnesota are the problem. There are bad apples in every bunch. The most difficult part for me is knowing and having been treated poorly by Somalis, and me just like brushing it off like, okay, all Somalis are not like that. Because I don't believe that all of anybody or anything is the same. There's this other side of it where it's like, okay, but we're Muslim and we know that there's no color in Islam, and there is no like one race in Islam, and there is no racism in Islam. These things are not supposed to exist because they exist. We know they do. So being a Black American woman and knowing how Black Americans have been treated and are treated by East Africans is difficult, because it's like I can't tell the Black Americans that are upset about and don't care that this is happening to the Somalis because of how they've been treated. I can't tell them to be quiet. I can't silence them and say this is not our deen, you know, because while it isn't, neither is what they've been doing. So it's like, it's so difficult, and I have all these mixed.
And this is what she's saying is spot on. This is the trauma that a lot of Black and African, like West African, and even probably some East Africans have been treated poorly by the Somali community. Who knows? But I think this is the what people are going through in the Twin Cities that are Black, not the white folks really. It is these mixed emotions. Because, of course, it's not all of them. You know, there's good and bad in every group, you know. And most of the people that you run across on a daily basis are pretty cool, you know, pretty chill. But, you know, those particular experiences that I've had more negative experiences, sadly, with some in the Somali community than positive. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all.
Emotions, and I'm like, what do I do with the pain? Like, what do I do with the difficulty that I'm having? What do I do with it?
As a Somali American who lives in Minnesota, it's really disheartening to hear and to read comments about my community, to hear people write, "Go home." To those people, I want you to know that America is home. I have lived in America since I was 7 years old. So when you tell me to go home, I think, okay, do they want me to go to Minneapolis, where I first lived, or maybe to St. Paul, or Brooklyn Park? Again, we are your neighbors. We are your teachers. We are your principals. We are your lawyers. We are you can fill in the blank. We are Minnesotans. As a Somali...
I'm going to read to you guys some of the comments because people just do not care right now on social media. The top comment on her page: "It's disheartening to hear the massive 1.7 billion in fraud." The next person says, "Welcome to the Black American experience. We've been here 500 years. Somebody else says the party is over. Another person says it's disheartening to hear about all the fraud. So yeah, people are really, really upset and going in right now on the Somali community.
For every person who chose to stand up, to speak out, and to say clearly, hate is hate. America must be a place of respect and dignity for all. When our community is targeted, when fear tries to take root, we remember something important. America is home. We have raised families here, built businesses here, worshipped here, contributed here. We belong, not by permission, but by presence, by history, and by humanity. And to those who use their voice to stand beside us, thank you. Your courage matters. Your solidarity matters, because history has shown us that when one group is targeted, others follow. And this is not the first time a community has been scapegoated. And unfortunately, it may not be the last, unless we learn and stand together. Enough is enough.
This is for the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, and the Somalians in Minnesota. See what happened when the leopard eat y'all face? See what happened when y'all thought a white man was gonna take care of y'all? See what happened? Now y'all got CNN, MSNBC, all these news stations coming to your town over what the shit is going on with y'all. Now y'all worry now, huh? I remember some of y'all even said, I remember this because it hurted me, that some of y'all even said, I will vote for the devil before I vote for Kamala Harris. I remember that. Now y'all getting Satan times 10. Now ICE is coming to y'all neighborhood unprovoked. I remember y'all. I remember y'all invited Trump to y'all restaurants saying y'all gonna stand side by side with the Trump administration. Y'all literally thought a man in 2016 who banned Muslims was gonna somehow fucking help y'all. Y'all deserve all this shit y'all get.
And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota.
It is important for us, one, to remind folks that we are Americans. We're not going anywhere, and we will continue to be in this country. And two, that Minnesotans are resilient, and we will continue to thrive.
It gives me a great sense of pleasure knowing that your refugee status can be revoked. See, unlike you, I was born here. From the moment I opened my eyes, I was in the United States of America, and I will never pander to Adan people. Cash is a legal form of currency. Anyone can take cash. The lady who did my eyelashes, cash. Eyebrows, cash. The Mexican lady who cleaned the house, cash. I don't care when you came to this country. When ICE pulls you over, they're going to put you in their detention center and they're going to ship you back to wherever you came from. Just because people are gassing you up in the comments, saying you're not like the others. You'll be like the others when you're sitting in a detention center. Good night.
As far as the tension, right? So this is where all the tension kind of stems from, because I know a lot of people are asking, well, how come the black people in the Twin Cities are not really standing with the Somalis? What is the issue? The thing is, a lot of people in the Somali community have basically isolated themselves. They're a very, very tight-knit group. They don't really allow outsiders. Now, they'll fuck with the whites, but if you are black, especially African American, they're not trying to fool with you. Even if you are African, if you don't look like them, they're very big on featureism, texturism, all of that stuff. You know, like I said, I grew up in these communities. They're very big on that. And so they make you feel like an outsider if you don't look like them, if you don't have those specific features. And for a long time, a lot of them consider themselves not black. They consider themselves Arab. Not all, again, I'm not talking in generalities. I'm saying some consider themselves Arab. And I get it because per their features, their hair texture, their noses, they do look more Arab than your typical Bantu, West African. I mean, they even have Bantu Somalians, and even the Bantu Somalians complain about discrimination because they have West African features because they were brought over from West Africa to Somalia. So even in Somalia, a lot of the Bantu Somalis, they face discrimination as well. It goes really, really deep. And so they have such a tight-knit circle that they don't fool with the other Africans like that. They don't fool with the Nigerians. They don't fool with the Liberians. Hell, they barely even deal with the Ethiopians and the Eritreans. Like, they really do not deal with other African groups. Like my best friend growing up was Eritrean. Like Eritreans, Ethiopians, they deal with other Africans, right? Like I said, I'm West African, she's East African. They deal with other cultures, but with Somalians, I've literally my whole life only had one Somali friend. Like they really only just deal with themselves. That's just what it is. They're not really into outsiders coming in, especially black outsiders. Now, if you're white, you may have a different experience because I notice a lot of my white friends, they do have a lot of Somali friends or they're cool with a lot of Somalians and, they tend to embrace them more. But I can't say the same, and I'm just speaking from my experience. They want people to come together now. They're saying, oh, everybody should rally with us because there's going to be racial profiling. No, not when y'all have said for years we had big noses and, kinky hair. Like, we don't look Somali, so there's not going to be any racial profiling. If you're racially profiled, it's just because you're black. It's not because they mistake somebody with Bantu features for a Somali. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the conversation is crazy. It is causing some xenophobia because, again, we have to remember everybody in the Somali community is not involved in this. They're not involved in the scamming. They're not involved in the nastiness, in the meanness. It's some. But unfortunately, that attitude is not checked. And that's the problem. that if people are behaving this way or treating people like they're beneath them, they need to be checked. You need to call them out. And I feel like a lot of times the Somali community, they don't hold each other accountable. It's like they keep things hush-hush or swept under the rug, and it's always okay for them to disrespect African Americans, Liberians, Nigerians, and other Africans, you know what I'm saying? And it should be called out when it's done. That's just my personal opinion. So yeah, I don't want to make this video much longer, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of nuances, you know, and I just think that, again, is it everybody in the community? Of course not. You know what I'm saying? But this is some of the biggest fraud in America that has happened. And so at this point, the Somali community needs to be calling it out, you know what I'm saying? And making people feel like this is not going to happen again, because the money that was used was taxpayer dollars. This money didn't just come out of the sky. This is everybody's money in Minnesota that has worked hard to pay into the system. So the whole thing is sad, you know? Again, like I said, for the most part, many in the community are chill. They mind their business. They keep to themselves. But I do wish that they would assimilate more, because it is frustrating when you're sitting here watching and you got the governor, you have the mayor, Jacob Fry, speaking Somali. And it's like, okay, well, do you speak any other language? I've never seen you get up and speak Vietnamese. I've never seen you get up and speak Hmong. I've never seen you speak Yoruba. I've never seen you speak Igbo. You know, any Liberian languages. I've never seen him do that, but he's speaking Somali.
Somali anulato! Somali anulato!
That's not American. That's not what we are about. And we're going to do right by every single person in our cities. And so, to our Somali community, Daman Shabka, Somaliyed Kunul, Minnesota, Garahan, Minneapolis, Waan, Ku Janila Hai, Waan, Ku Gereb, Taganahan.
And then they changed the Minnesota flag to a flag that looks very similar to the Somalian flag. So a lot of white folks are mad about that. So when I tell you, Minnesota has been going through it. Like, it's been so much going on here. It's insane. You know, I hope that we eventually get back in the news for something good. I hope a lot of this, you know, xenophobia, anger, back and forth dies down. And I really wish that a lot of people in the Somali community would assimilate more, you know, would like make people feel welcome to come to y'all's events. Or, you know, if we go to Kama Mall, a lot of us black people, or who look, you know, who have black features, we don't like going to y'all's malls because it's not a comfortable experience. So I just hope that, you know, people don't necessarily take offense to this video, but kind of look internally and see, like, you know, do I have some biases? Are there some things that we need to change? So that way people feel more welcome. Because if we feel more welcome, then more people would be willing to defend you. But if it's where y'all just click up and everything is just Somalia and everybody else is an outsider, well, then we're going to be outside the circle minding our business. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It goes deep, but I hate the fact that my city is like on the news for all of this. And like I said, when I went to the South Side today, I was just shocked. I mean, it looked like a ghost town. It really did. It was shocking to just see how empty everything was out there. And it's sad because, again, it's a Saturday. You know, that's a perfect time for business because people are off of work. You know, people want to go to lunch and go get tea and coffee. And so many shops along Riverside were closed. I was very shocked. Like I said, I didn't even go over down Lake Street, really. Well, where like the Kama Mall area, I was over there by the McDonald's, child, over there off of Uptown. So I didn't even make it further down Lake Street, but yeah, it's sad. But anyways, tea sippers, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Let me know your thoughts on all of this drama going on with the Somali community. I hope I kind of broke stuff down well for y'all, because y'all know I've been going through it here, you know, health-wise. So I'm just trying to remember, you know, everything I want to talk about. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I look forward to reading y'all's comments down below. Feel free to share the video. Please hit this video with a like. And again, I'm not trying to offend anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking my experience. That's it. That's all. Love you guys. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovely Tea TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovely Tea TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.